We are continuing our discussion of Chapter 2 set theory. We're going to look at Section 2.5, which is the last section of Chapter 2, and it deals with survey problems. We've already learned how to interpret Venn diagrams, so we're going to use Venn diagrams to visualize the survey's results, and we're going to turn this around and use survey results to complete Venn diagrams and answer questions about the survey. I should mention at this point that some of the figures in some of the PowerPoints I'm going to show you are very small and they're hard to read. You can go into the course and you can download and print or enlarge on your screen the PowerPoints so that you can read them better. Okay, the first example we're going to look at is visualizing the results of a survey. This survey involves a set of students willing to donate blood, which is labeled A, and a set of students willing to serve breakfast to donors, labeled set B. How many students are willing to donate blood? Well, this is represented by set A, which is regions 1 and 2. So finding the sum of regions 1 and 2, we get 490. How many are willing to donate blood but not to serve breakfast? Okay, well, set B is the set of students willing to serve breakfast to donors. So we're going to find A, which is the set of the students willing to donate blood, intersect the complement of B, or B prime, which we see is region 1, and it is listed as 370. Now we're going to consider how many weren't willing to do either. Okay, well, set A is a set of students willing to donate blood. B is a set of students willing to serve breakfast. So we're looking at the complement of each of these. The complement of A intersect complement of B, which would be region 4 outside of both of the circles. And this would be 290. Now we're turning it around and we're going to solve survey problems by drawing Venn diagrams and interpreting the results. We're going to use the survey's description to define sets and draw a Venn diagram, use the survey's results to determine the cardinality for each region in the Venn diagram, and we always start with the intersection of the sets, the innermost region, and work out. Use the completed Venn diagram to answer the problem's questions. A survey is taken that asks 2,000 randomly selected U.S. and Mexican adults the following question. Do you agree or disagree that the primary cause of poverty is societal injustice? The results of the survey show that 1,060 people agreed with the statement. 400 Americans agreed with the statement. If half of the adults surveyed were Americans, how many Mexicans agreed with the statement, and how many Mexicans disagreed with the statement? First, we're going to define the sets and draw a Venn diagram. Set US is a set of Americans surveyed. Set A, which is also agree, is a set of people surveyed who agreed with the statement. The area outside the US circle represents the set of Mexicans. The group of people outside of A must be the set of people disagreeing with the statement. Step 2, we determine the cardinality of each region in the Venn diagram, starting with the innermost region. We're given the following cardinalities. There were 2,000 people surveyed, so the universal set is 2,000. Half of the people surveyed were Americans. Cardinality of US is 1,000. The number of people who agreed with the statement was 1,060. That represents A. And there were 400 Americans who agreed with the statement, which means that the cardinality of US intersect A would be 400. This is one of those slides that I said is a little hard to read, but we'll go over it. Okay, starting with region 2, which is the dark blue part in the first diagram. We're going to move outwards then to regions 2 and 3, and we're going to end with region 4. So 2 represents a set of Americans who agreed with the statement. We're given that the cardinality of the U.S. intersect agree, or A, is 400. So we can fill in the dark blue part as 400. Now moving out to region 1, which is the other part of the U.S. circle. We're given that the set U.S. regions 1 and 2 contains 1,000 people because half of the people surveyed were United States citizens. So the N is 1,000. With 400 elements in region 2, then we see that if U.S. is 1,000, then region 1 has to be 600. 600 plus 400 gives us 1,000 for U.S. Now moving to the third Venn diagram, we're moving out to region 3, which is in set A. We're given that set A, which is regions 2 and 3, contains 1,060 people. This is the number that agree with the survey. So if there's 400 elements in 2, then 1,060 minus 400 gives us 660 people in region 3. We have now filled in all of the parts within the circles. Next, we want to look at region 4, which is outside the circles. We're given that the universal set, which is the number of people surveyed, is 2,000. If we've got 600 plus 400 plus 660 within the circles, the regions 1, 2, and 3, that is equal to 1,660. So that leaves 2,000 minus the 1,660, or 340 people in region 4. A, the Mexicans who agreed with the statement are shown in region 3. This means that 660 people, Mexicans, agreed with that societal injustice is the primary cause of poverty. The Mexicans who disagreed with the statement corresponds to region 4, which we just calculated to be 340. We're going to look at a third example now. Constructing a Venn diagram for a survey. 60 people were contacted and responded to a movie survey. This is the information that was obtained from the survey. 6 people liked comedies, dramas, and science fiction. 13 people liked comedies and dramas. 10 people liked comedies and science fiction. 11 liked dramas and science fiction. 26 liked comedies, 21 liked dramas, and 25 liked science fiction. Sounds like a lot of numbers, but we're going to use a Venn diagram to illustrate the survey's results. The set of people surveyed is a universal set. It has 60 elements containing 3 subsets. They looked at 3 different types of movies: comedies, dramas, and science fiction. So we're going to label these C for comedies, D for dramas, and S for science fiction. Then we're going to use the numbers that were given on the previous slide, as well as knowing that 60 people were surveyed, which we call condition H, to determine the cardinality of each region in the Venn diagram. Again, this is a little small. Okay, We draw our three circles, C for comedies, D for drama, and S for science fiction. We know that 6 people liked all three. So that's going to be our innermost or darkest part of our Venn diagram. The cardinality of the intersection of the three circles is 6. Now going back to the information we were given, we find that 13 people liked comedies and drama. So the cardinality of C intersect D would be 13. Well, we've already got 6 people in that intersection, so the lighter blue area must contain 7. 7 and 6 gives us our 13 people. Okay, going over to the other part on the right, we see that 10 people liked comedies and science fiction. So the cardinality of C intersect S would be 10. We have 6 people in the center here, the dark part. So 10 minus 6 gives us 4. Going to the other side of the Venn diagram for this one, we know that 11 people like drama and science fiction. So the cardinality of D intersect S is 11. We already have 6 people in there, so 11 minus 6 gives us our 5. So we have filled in quite a lot of this Venn diagram. We still have the white spaces, which we're going to look at in the bottom Venn diagram. So we know that 26 people liked comedies. This means that the cardinality of C would be 26. Well, we already have 7, 6, and 4. That's 17. There should be 26 altogether in the C circle. So 26 minus 17 gives us a 9 in the white part of circle C. Going to circle D, we know that 21 people like dramas. So the cardinality of the circle D is 21. We have 7, 6, and 5, or 18 people already counted in the shaded areas. So 21 minus 18 gives us 3 in the white part of circle D. Looking at this science fiction circle S, 25 people like science fiction. So the cardinality of the entire circle S is 25. We've got 4, 6, and 5 already identified in circle S. So that would be 15. 25 minus 15 gives us 10 in the white part of the science fiction circle. Finally, we know that 16 people were surveyed, so the cardinality of the universal set is 60. But what about the ones that are not in any of the 3 circles? So we're going to add up all the different regions. We get 44. This means that 60 minus 44, or 16 people, are in the universal set that does not include those people in the circles. Example 4, using a survey's Venn diagram. The Venn diagram shows the results of the movie survey that we did in example 3. How many of those surveyed liked comedies, but neither dramas nor science fiction, dramas and science fiction, but not comedies, dramas or science fiction, but not comedies, exactly 1 movie style, at least 2 movie styles, none of the movie styles. Okay, we're going to go back to the Venn diagram that we've already looked at. So for comedies, but neither dramas nor science fiction. Okay, comedies, remember, circle C, but neither dramas nor science fiction. So we don't want any of the overlaps of circle D or S. This would be region 1, which we've identified as 9. So 9 people like comedies, but they don't like the other 2. For B, dramas and science fiction, but not comedies. Okay, so dramas and science fiction would be the circles D and S, but they don't like comedies, so we can't include anything in regions 1, 2, 4, or 5. This would be the section 6, which has 5 people in it, because it says they like dramas and science fiction, so it has to be an intersection. Next, dramas or science fiction, but not comedies. Okay, they either like dramas or science fiction, but they don't like comedies. Well, this time it's going to be the union of D and S and the intersection of C complement or C prime. So this would be 3, which is region 3, 5, which is region 6, and 10, which is region 7. The total of that would be 18. So 18 like dramas or science fiction, but they don't like comedies. So we can't include anything in C. That's why it's the complement. Okay, last one. D, exactly one movie style. All right, this means that it can't be any of the overlaps of any of the circles. So that would be regions 1, 3, and 6. Adding those together, we get 9, 3, and 10, which would be 22. At least 2 movie styles. That would be the intersection of at least 2 of the circles, or it could be the intersection of all 3, because it says at least 2. So it could be 2 or it could be 3. So looking at the intersections, which are the shaded areas, we have regions 2, 4, 5, and 6. Adding those together, we get 22. Finally, none of the movie styles. Okay, that would be region 8, because it's outside all 3 of those circles, which would be 16. And that shows you how you can use Venn diagrams to interpret surveys.